name is Tomasz Switek and I'm here from Poland. And I consider myself as a sometimes story listener. And sometimes I consider myself as a storyteller. And very often I consider myself as a story co-creator, especially with my clients. Clinical patients, but also just professionals, because I train a lot, I do a lot of supervision. And when I was invited to this plenary, the first reaction was, wow, with the pleasure. But then I realized that my listening and talking and understanding is mainly done in Polish. And probably I will be obliged to speak story here in English. So as far as I see that you more or less what you understand my English, so please continue. Or just pretend that you understand. What I do very often when I'm just a story listener, I have no idea what is going on, but I just and my clients are quite satisfied. But in order to support myself, I just created a short presentation to have just kind of continuity with my thoughts, which I have to formulate in English. So what I want to say that when I was listening my three colleagues, I came to conclusion that from my point of view, I started social focused brain therapy adventure in 1987. So it's a bit far away from now. My daughter was born, my son was 6, now he's 24, and daughter is 18. And I have 3 more children, and a new relationship. Okay, I know that I'm in North America, but I need to say something to you. That I was born mentally in solution focused in the city of Bruges. There is a gospel which is saying that Reform Therapy Center was one of the places of building and developing social focused ideas, but another one, parallel one, was the Korzybski Institute in Bruges and the Lux Isabert team. And that's my birthplace. Not Reform Therapy Center, but the Bruges. So I will try to tell you a little more about the Bruges model and situational model. And I will try to give all credentials I ought to give to Steve Shazer and Insu Kimberg. But what I want to stress now is there is in that room, there are at least a few persons whom I owe so much. Frank Thomas. He's one of the first persons who sent me materials in English to Poland and his book. And I was quite lucky to read Frank's materials before I started to read Insu and Steve. Because nothing from them was the same. And I started to read Luke Isabert books before I started to read Insu and Steve. Then, when I came to Insu and Steve, it was really different for me. And by the side of Frank, I can see Harvey. And Harvey was one of my trainers. For 2 days, we were constantly working with adolescents. And later on, I met Rana Nelson, and I met Plamen Panayotov here. So people who presented me quite flexible ways while thinking about social focus approach. When I met Dr. Luke Isabert, and he asked me, Tomasz, do you believe that solution focus is about asking questions and techniques? I said, I heard so. And he said, no, for me it's much more about thinking. So today I will tell you a little bit about thinking and then about practice. Okay? Let's have such a short agreement. So let's start our journey. Names are just given. When it should be obvious for us that names are just given. We, in everyday practice, we use so many names to describe ourselves, to describe the world, but also to describe our approach. So one of 2 names which I found out very early was the problem name and the solution name. I was struggling with this for long, because I was not able to find it useful for me to think in terms of problem and solutions. Problem appeared to me to be like, deficits, it's nothing good in this. But then I met some thinking from the systemic approach that the symptom can play at least a role, so it can be quite positive. And I learned very fast, thanks to my clients, that their solutions are not only with pluses, but they consist also of some minuses. There's always a price we have to pay for the change. And the price is not so optimistic always. So when I was thinking about problem solution, it was negative, positive. And it influenced my practice in a poor way. So I met this idea about killing. One of the secrets about solution-focused approach is that it's about death. And Steve started this game with death of resistance. I hope you heard it. So he killed resistance just by stopping using that name. It's an interesting way of killing. Quite peaceful. So I decided to continue this tradition. So we have one grave. So I decided to build another. I killed problems in that way, because I just stopped to use the word and the name problems. Then in my clinical practice, I felt a kind of freedom, because when people ask me, are you talking about problems with the clients? And I said, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking with clients about their lives. That's all. I do not talk about problems because I don't use such a name. But it was not enough. I'm from the country where Christianity is quite important. So we like to think in terms of Trinity. So we have two. I killed third one. I've stopped to use the term solutions. It's maybe quite weird, but I use so-called SF approach, and I stopped to use the term solutions. But it was very helpful for me just to stop to use that name. So we have two graves, 3 graves, so let's go on. I started to think that using name solution focused is a trap. It's a mental trap for my thinking and for my practice. I was inspired by Steve in this because he was not so satisfied with the name solutions. But they choose it. So okay, but it was their choice. So I am free with my choices. So I decided just to skip it. Because when I think in terms of solution focused, I feel kind of, cage. That I'm obliged to do some things. And my master, I have one master, real master, Bruce Lee. From the movie, not the actor, but the person from the movie Enter the Dragon. He was asked, what kind of Kung Fu do you want to develop? And his answer was, I want to develop Kung Fu where techniques does not play any role. So I felt so inspired by this answer. So we have two persons talking to each other, possibly thinking a little bit. And we have clients corner, and we have professional corner. And what is going on between them is this concept of cooperation, ultimate cooperation. That was one of the reasons I stopped to use problem-solution thinking. And I stopped to use these types of relationships. But we have this solution-focused approach, we have this idea that every client cooperates. When we have complaining type relationship, and you have visiting type relationship, and then you have cooperating type relationship. So it was not good for me to think that each client cooperates with me. And you have a client with his own thinking, and then you have a professional. And at at least there are two doors to the professional minds. Red ones, which you can pass with solution-focused authorization. You can think and you can do in a solution-focused way. Or you have another doors which are authorization you can get is by the clue of usefulness. And I met a lot of my trainees who asked me the question, Tomasz, it worked, but was it solution-focused? And I answered, who cares? Who cares? Not your client. Because if you want to apply solution-focused ideas, you should treat your approach as a client. But when you work with the client, you should think in terms of Milton Erickson about utilization, usefulness, and so on. So we have a death of something means life of something. I hope you agree. So we have death of resistance. So we have this name of cooperation. So when I killed problems, then I created another name for my practice, which is unwanted things, unwanted situations. And I talk with my clients about things which are unwanted. I pay much more attention to their experience. It's something not wanted or less wanted, that's all. And term I use instead of solutions is wanted. Wanted things or wanted situations. So I still consider myself as a solution-focused by tradition, but by the practice I consider myself as a situations-focused. And situations-focused is about helping client to move from unwanted or less wanted toward much more wanted or wanted situations. It's simple. I can talk about unwanted things, and I can talk about wanted things. I can talk about what is unwanted in that situation, and I can talk about what is unwanted in another situation. And more or less, situations focus is about moving from less wanted to more wanted or unwanted or wanted on every possible source of inspiration. You know, I don't care about source of inspiration. I don't care whether it's from the client's experience, of my experience, or others' experience. The only question is useful or not. So, why I like this concept of every possible source of inspiration? What are we doing here during the last days in Halifax, not in Toronto? We spent, my colleague Arthur, 2 hours in Toronto. Is that we are trying to collect and share ideas. That's what I'm doing here. We are collecting and sharing. And when I think about human species, I think we are here because we collected and shared information. So that's my thinking about my way of working with the clients. I'm trying to collect and share. So of course, the first source is the client's experience. So CE, client's experience. And it's always in solution focused and also situational model. And then, when it's not sufficient, we have client's experience about others. So what do you know about others? Yeah? But when it's not sufficient, then we go to let's meet others, greet and meet with others, and find out about their experience. But sometimes it's not workable. So what's that? Then we move to professional and his experience about others. You know, I'm helping people for 20 years. I'm almost 50 years old, and I know a lot. I know, I'm the expert. I can think about myself quite reasonable person. So I can get a potential source for my clients. And even if I do not have knowledge about others, I still something which is called knowledge. So professional experience taken through the knowledge. You know, books, universities, theories, and so on. It's still a useful source of inspiration, unless previous were not useful. I have some more sources of inspiration, but today I will skip it. Okay. So, Mr. Switek. Do we have some more? Do we have some more, or should I finish?
More.
Yes? So little, just 1 minute more.
1 minute.
Okay, I will move somewhere. It will be published on the website, I hope. First, on consequent session structures. Okay? I want to share with my knowledge about it. So, before the session, the only structure is that it has start and finish. And the only thing I can say about the content is that there's no first session structure because I have to create it. And after meeting, yes, I can describe it when the job is done. So I have to finish here. If you are somehow interested in situational model, please go on to give me some time. Please go to International Journal of Social Focus Practice. It's free. It's free. You don't have to pay. It's available for internet. You can find my article on situational model or much more. And this year was published a book from Luxembourg about solution-focused cognitive and systemic learning. From my point of view, worth reading. Thank you for attention.
Tomasz, there's very few native English speakers that can present such stimulating ideas with such clarity. So thank you so much. And of course, I want to thank all of our panelists for this fascinating conversation, for sharing their wonderful journey, their wonderful ideas, their expertise and experience. I wish, it's my fault that I didn't really kind of say about time. I hope for time for questions, but I know we've enjoyed so much what they shared with us that, again, I really want to thank everyone. And I don't want to run over time. Jill wants, on behalf of us, give you a little thank you, because again, we're not paying you, so here's Thank you, everyone for coming, everyone for contributing so much. Safe journeys, have a great time at Hella's, everyone who can come. I know everyone who can do it wants to be there. Everyone knows how wonderful it'd be. Everyone wants more time together, share more ideas, appreciate and sap everything for this wonderful community, take every last drop we can get. And if we can't get it, we have to get on our way and travel and be there. And by the way, Air Canada's always 6 hours late. You've got to okay? Safe journeys, everyone. Enjoy your evening if you're here.